Hello viewers, welcome back. We are now looking at navigational column. So one of the things that you may have noticed is that we needed to navigate up and down. In other words, we needed to move upwards and downwards, and we've done it quite a bit in this model. For example, we've been using the up arrow, the down arrow. We've been using the page ups, and we've also been using the page downs just to navigate up and down a little bit. Now, if you try to zoom in, maybe we try to zoom in a little bit with that Control Alt minus. So we can try to zoom in a little bit. Control Alt. We try to zoom in. So we can now see. Can try to zoom in a little bit more from there. Let's try to zoom it out a bit, at least there. If you try to move, you can see that we have the whole income statement. This is the whole module. So you can try to see that we have the whole module. So we have zoomed in just like that, and now want to go all the way to the top for assumption section. That's where we are. Now you can see that this model is becoming quite big for us. In other words, it is now been stacked vertically. We've been building each model or each section onto each other. So we want to give you some tips on how to navigate around in such a stacked financial model, so that you can be able to move in quickly and efficiently. So, and by the way, the part of the reason as to why we want to stack models vertically is that we want every column. Let's try to zoom out a little bit. We want every column, this column, let's say column for revenue, for F, column F. We want to make sure that every column or every period is perfectly aligned. For example, this is column F, and column F has a year 2022. In other words, it's 2022 actuals that were pressed in column F. So if we roll down, if you try to move down like this, you will see that. So if you try to roll down using the mouse, you can see that this is always the case. In other words, all the figures for 2022, they are stuck in that column F. They are not going anywhere. That's one of the reasons why we prefer to stack models vertically. So we always want to maintain that alignment. As you stack models vertically, you can have all those values. If they are relating to only one financial accounting period, they are all in that same column. If they are relating to 2025, they are all in that same column. So that's why we stack models vertically. But also, when you try to use the app, when you try to navigate through these models, if you try to move up and down a little bit through the model, can be in the model, and we try to move up and down a little bit. So you are seeing we can actually be able to move down and up in that large vertical stack. But we are finding it difficult for us to move because we are moving at a slow pace. Imagine moving slowly like that until you reach to the last one. Because it will be difficult for us if at all the model is going all the way to the last cells within our Excel sheet. So I'm going to give you the tips, some of the tips on how we can actually navigate through our model. Very easy. So you have to notice that right here in this column A, that column A, we have left it blank. There is nothing in that column, and we can highlight that column by hitting this. If you don't use because here I'm using the mouse to highlight, but if you want to highlight that column, you can now just put your cursor in here, you do Control spacebar. It will highlight it. If you want to highlight any column, you just put the cursor in that column, you use Control spacebar. But now, within this same cell, this same column A, we want to put something called a navigational column. In other words, we want to leave that column as a navigational path for us to navigate through those vertical model. So we can use now that column A like an elevator to actually move up and down into the model. So the way we are going to create this navigational column is really simple. So let's move down to this cell. Let's first get out that high. Let's move down to cell A3, right besides assumptions, that assumption section. What we are going to do, we are going to put in a space in that column. So we can hit the F4 to get into that column. And now what we are going to do, we are going to put in a space. And we can only put in a space using that space button, space bar. This backspace button. We're putting that space. So we are going to also go to this income statement. This is F4. We do the same thing. We put in some space there. We are also going to do the same thing to these other sections. Like for target EBITDA, we hit enter. And the good thing with these spaces, the good thing with these space buttons, or with those spaces that we put, these spaces, they cannot be seen. So we are going to be putting in those spaces down to all these sections. We do the same thing to common size, use the backspace, hit enter to put in a space there. Then we also go to the last one, which is the percentage change. We also come and put in backspace, enter. So, and the nice thing about these spaces that we are putting in, no one can actually see them, but they give us something that something that is going to help us get like a stopover. We stop against those different points that we have. So what we mean by those different stops or stoppages that we are going to get is that if we are down here to this percent change, if let's say maybe we move a little bit down, if we move down here to this net income, we move to this cell A76 to that income statement, and now we hold down our control, then we tap the up arrow. You find it is taking us, we are going to those last items. So you will see that we have those different stoppages. Hit the enter, come here, hit enter. Let me just put them here, enter. We go to also common size, we put in even percentage, hit enter. So now when you are from this section A76 and you hold down your control plus the alt L, you hold down control, you hold down your control, and then you hit the up arrow. You'll find yourself stopping at this point for percentage, where we put in our space. We put in that space using this big space bar. The backspace button is the one that we use. So when you hold down control, then you hit the up arrow again, you'll find yourself moving to the next item. So those are the stoppages that we are talking about until you go to the last one. So you are seeing, if you use the down arrow, shift down, control down arrow, this is we are going upwards. So I hold down the control key, hit the down arrow, and I move to the next section to the next section, until I finish up. So now you're seeing when I hit the down arrow down here, it is taking me far away. So what do I need to do? I need to also come here, this to that net income. I also put in the space. I hit this big button, the backspace. Once, then I hit enter. So I'm going to be moving and I will be stopping at this net income, not moving down to the last row within the Excel. So up arrow, just like that. So now when I use the down arrow, I'm going to stop at that net. That's where I'm stopping, because that's where our schedule is ending. So that's what we wanted to put. That's a navigational column. So we've seen that we have those different stoppages as we've seen. So those stoppages are actually helping us to get all the way to the top really quickly, and we can hold down the control key and use the arrows to actually move to move out and to move up and down to those different sections as we've seen. So installing a navigational column is quick and easy, and the good thing is that it is practically invisible, because you can't see those spaces that we put there, but you can see the stoppages. So it doesn't matter where you are working in the model. It could be anywhere, and you hold down your because you can be in this. Let's take an example. You are here and you want to move to your navigational column. You just hold the left key like that, and you are within. So it doesn't matter where you are. Whether you are at this point, you just use the left arrow to go to that section of the navigational column. So, and when you reach the navigational column, you can just hold down the control down arrow or up arrow to be able to move within that navigational column. So it is super quick. Now, we have just gone through the navigational column, and we have also discussed our preference for vertical model building. In other words, we keep stacking those different schedules or sections on top of one another. And we have also discussed the importance of aligning everything, like 2025, 2024 is always going to be aligned in that column. Let's say it is column H, let's say it is column F, but it's going to be aligned. For every financial information for a given financial year is going to be aligned in a given column. So one thing we are going to see in the next video is that perfect vertical alignment can also help you when you are auditing a model. So what we are going to look at is we are going to see how we can be able to investigate within our model, because we are going to use tracing dependence and tracing precedence to be able to carry out audit within the financial model. So that's what we are going to look at in the next video. We see you there.